Hey guys, welcome to the 1043 podcast. Today, I kind of want to talk to you about our right to vote. I know with the midterm elections coming up, early voting coming up here in Texas, it's just this week, Tuesday in fact, early voting will start. The reason why I want to talk about that is, have you ever gone in, let's say, to the Texas Ethics Commission or whatever ethics commission you have, FEC, anything,
Federal Election Commission.
Yeah, Federal Election Commission, or any of those sites where you look to see where your candidates get their funds from. Today, we kind of want to go over that with you about doing your due diligence, and also to get a movement going of
Citizen journalists.
You have a voice. You can go on social media sites and say, hey, look, did you look at this candidate? Not only who they received from, how they vote, what their morals are, how do they feel on certain positions. So it's our right not to just take some voter guide that you're handed at a polling place and go, okay, these must be the candidates that are the only ones on the ballot, or the ones that only this party or that party is promoting. It's our right and it's our voice that counts. We're the ones that elect these people and put them in office, whether it's local, whether it's state, whether it's federal. It doesn't matter. We're the ones that put these people in office. Look in New York. They're hammering now that they made a huge mistake by putting the person in charge that they did for the mayor, Mamdani. I mean, they're going, whoa, wait a minute. If you're going to tax the millionaires to pay for these free programs that are not free because somebody has to pay for them, some of these voters are going, wait a minute. What he said and what he's doing are two different things. And where did his money come from? We won't get onto that, but we're going to focus more on what's PACs, what's the FEC, which is the Federal Elections Commission. You also have your Texas TEC, which is the Texas Ethics Commission. You have one in every state. You have one in every county. There's even county websites that you can go on to see who local politicians are taking the money from.
Well, let's start with this. There is no shortage of people going, our politicians are corrupt. We're unhappy. They're being bought. They're being paid for by big money, whatever, right? And some of them have been called out by this. What we're talking about today and what we want to show you is you can actually go see who paid for them. And when she talks about call to citizen journalists, we can't do every politician. And we're interested in the politicians in our state. You may not be, but you know what? You may be interested in the politician in your state. If we get more people starting to research these politicians, where they get their money, and putting it out there. If you sit on the commission for some pharmaceuticals and you're taking money from a pharmaceutical company, we can all agree you're bought. And if you were in any other elected position or any other government position, you'd be fired for being unethical. But politicians get to do it and go, no. We can see the difference between the money we get and how we vote. And our stance is, no, you can't. If you could, it wouldn't be against policy and in some cases illegal for every other government employee to do this. So what we want to show is, how do you go research? Go look at your politician. Who's giving them money? How did they vote after they sit on certain commissions? If we start exposing the corruption, then a lot of it'll stop. And, it's a stretch. Might even be some indictments because of it.
Yeah. There's one PAC that I noticed for the Republican Party.
Let's start with, what is a PAC? Political Action Committee.
Right. Locally, because we have the elections coming up next week, the early vote, I started looking at 2 local politicians who were running. What I noticed was a PAC called Red Win. REDWIN. I went and looked it up on their website, and basically what they do is they take donations for any politician running, for any office, any seat, and they funnel the donations through there, and the donors, the people who are donating to the campaigns, get to remain anonymous. So tell me that's not corrupt.
It's the Republican version of Act Blue.
Right.
They take money and they don't log. They don't say who that money's coming from.
You know, you can't actually go in there and look through the donors, the people who donated.
Exactly.
To Red Win.
It's a
so to me, that's got a stank on it.
And Act Blue, right?
Act
They've
Blue
been
too.
called out.
Yeah.
What they call themselves a political action committee. They're motivated for a cause. No, they're not. They're a firewall for the elected position, the politician. They're a firewall for the politician to turn around and get money without having to account where it comes from.
Because you and I can't go in and look at, okay, what PAC donated? What pharmaceutical company donated? And I'm talking local and state. I'm not talking federal. I'm talking local and state. So what pharmaceutical company went in and donated to that campaign?
Or any industry.
Or any industry. Somebody has to pay for those mailers. Somebody has to pay for those 30-second ads and the newspaper ads and the social media ads.
Because it's not just pharmaceutical.
It's not pharmaceutical. It's also real estate. There's a local politician in our county that is running right now that took money from a real estate company.
Well, and to me it's duplicitous that, and I've heard upwards of 80% of every state and federal elected legislator is a lawyer. Do you know who gives some of the most money?
Law firms.
Law firms and lawyer associations.
And why is it, okay, let's say local, where we're at, there are people from Virginia, Alabama, West Virginia, several other states that are donating to local politicians.
Why do they care
in
about
our county? So why do they care about who runs our county in West Virginia or Alabama? Now, you can't tell me that they're friends, that they met somewhere along the way and somewhere in their life.
Does anyone believe these people are given money, these organizations are given money just out of the goodness of their heart? No. So what they do is they take this money. They take it from the PACs. What they do is the PACs take this money and they bundle it together from a bunch of different people and organizations. So, depending on your state and the Fed, there may be a $10,000 a year limit on how much a person can give or an entity can give. So, if the Lawyer Association decides to give, they give $10,000. Then the board, each one of them gives a few thousand. And then they turn around, they give a bunch of money to a political action committee, bundle that with all the members of their association into that. They have bought that politician. Do you really think tort reform or the legal abuses that occur would occur if they couldn't turn around and get the laws they wanted? Do you think vaccine mandates would ever happen if pharmaceutical companies couldn't get the laws they want? They bundle the money and send it over so that the politician is bought. He doesn't have to worry about getting so much money from anyone else. All he's got to do is get in front of a camera and say, now, I'm unethical, but that other guy, no. He's crooked. But nobody's looking at where the money's coming from and then looking at his vote.
Nope. I did our sample ballot to bring in for early voting, and I did my due diligence. I went through every single candidate on that ballot that I'm able to vote for in my precinct and the state, and I looked every single person up. Yes, it's time consuming and it's boring, but let me tell you what. Come November, when they're running against the other party, if they're incumbent, at least I know with a clear conscience that I voted for the best person. Not every politician is perfect. We just covered that. They're not. They can sit there and go, oh, I don't take PAC money, or I don't take money from this, or I'm not paid to play. I'm going to call BS because you're a politician, and yes, you are. You can tell me till you're blue in the face that you don't take PAC money or that you don't take certain donations, but I guarantee you, you do.
Looking at you, County Board.
You know who you are. And I called you out about the real estate because it's on the website. It's on the TEC. It's on the county's website of the election board. So you know who you are.
So if you don't believe us, or all of a sudden you happen to notice a particular county commissioner goes and running saying it's not corrupt, don't take our word for it. What we're trying to teach you is to go look for yourself. Prove it. Confront them in their meetings. Call them out. I want to touch on a point you said about not having the time to go look. What happens if we as citizens, because we all complain that government is corrupt, the politicians are corrupt, they're
bought.
Yeah. So what happens? Stop thinking Team Red, stop thinking Team Blue.
This isn't a political thing. It's more of a civil.
You are a shareholder in your county or your city and your state and the federal government. Your share is a vote. You get a vote, right? If you set Team Red and Team Blue aside, what you're actually doing is you're hiring a manager from dog catcher up to president. You're hiring a manager. Think of it like a business, and we all have a share in this business. As a shareholder, you get a vote in who your management's going to be. What happens if we stop thinking red-blue? Start thinking in terms of you're hiring a manager to run your business. Now all of a sudden, all that money that's coming in from PAC, that doesn't matter anymore because they can't get around the votes. So maybe let's just stop thinking in terms of politics and start thinking in terms of management.
Don't think one team or the other. Think
manager.
Think
You are
manager.
you are a business
think
owner.
CFO.
If you think as a business owner, you think differently. You are hiring that chief officer. That's what you're doing. That's all we're doing when we elect. So we make this call for needing more citizen journalists. And some of these great, they're awesome. Nick Shirley, he's the one doing all the Minnesota fraud. You've seen him all over YouTube. Angela Rose is out in California, and she's following up on Ilham Omar's businesses, trying to figure out how we go from 50,000 to 30 million in less than 24 months, right? Think about the work they're doing, and they're using their phone cameras, they're using simple mics, and they're just doing research, and they're just going and asking questions. What happens if we all start doing that?
We start bringing attention to the real issues. And the real issues is the fraud and the corruption and politicians being bought and paid for.
Fire the bad actors. Hire new ones.
Yeah.
And when I say fire, what I mean is use your power of the vote. You are hiring and firing. If they're not doing what they're supposed to, fire them. Hire somebody else. Because that's what happens in your job. It's what happens in my business and in yours. Why should politicians be any different? What makes them so unique?
Some people they hold these politicians to a higher or to a standard, and they go, well, they've been in office for 2 terms and they're doing a really great job. Are they? Have you looked at your county budget? Have you looked at your city budget? Have you looked at where the funds are going? Because if they can't explain, county commissioners, where the money's going, and there's no kind of audit of where these funds are being spent, are you really doing a great job as a manager? Because I would have to say no.
I'd be real curious and this is for anyone in any local government, in your county, city, and state, I'd be real curious. Go look up your politician. See who has the road construction contracts. See who has the building construction contracts. All the maintenance that gets farmed out by city and county governments. Are those companies giving money to your city managers, to your commissioners, your county judges? Because if they are, that's unethical. If they were a regular county employee, they'd be fired. What we're saying is use the power of the vote and fire them. Hire somebody new. They are mismanaging your business.
There's something else I want to talk about because I helped on a campaign here locally. And I noticed in Montgomery, in our county, there are 2 Tea Parties. 2 Republican Tea Parties. 2. And it's divided. You have grassroots, and then you have people like me who are more conservative Republicans. Why is our county allowing 2 Tea Parties?
You can't stop it. You can join any organization you choose.
But they're divided. They have divided the Republican Party. And I know that we're not supposed to talk about one party or the other, and we're supposed to remain neutral. But these Tea Parties have elected officials. So this goes to elected officials. Now, they don't get paid per se. It's a volunteer slot. And a lot of those chairs are on our ballots coming up. Start looking at them because they're raising campaign funds. Now, why are they raising campaign funds when it's an unpaid position? Oh, wait. It's to pay for the ads and it's to pay for the mailers. So if you're running...
You're talking about party management.
Yeah. The Tea Party here in our county.
But I'm sure there's their equivalent other Republican and Democratic parties.
Right. Throughout the country. There's got to be, right? Because you've got to have some kind of representation, whether in your city, your county, or your state. And I get that. But to me, if it's an unpaid position, because you're volunteering for that position, even though it's elected, and you have to be elected to get into it, why are they raising funds for mailers and TV ads and newspaper ads? And again, we're splitting the party down the line, which doesn't help our county.
And it's happening in every county.
It happens in every county across the country. You folks need to look into that, because that's another serious issue. Because they have their little mailers, their little ballot samples that they give you at the polling places, and they go, vote for these people, vote for these people. But I guarantee you, if you went on to your county's website or your city's website and got a sample ballot and you matched it up to that one, to what's actually put out by the elections board, it's totally opposite. Because they leave candidates off because they don't pay to play.
Isn't that effectively another political action committee by a different name?
It is.
I mean, if you're collecting money and you're trying to get somebody in, that's no different than
a PAC.
the big PACs we were talking about.
It's just smaller scaled.
Now, exercise your right to vote. Do your homework. And for the love of God, let's get some more citizen journalists out there. Let's start exposing all this fraud and corruption. I am amazed over the past year what has become available. Now, what happens if we all turn a little bit of effort towards these politicians? Maybe we can start getting the management we deserve.
And I just want to say this before we end. If you need help researching or knowing where to go, I can point you in the right direction. All you have to do is leave a comment down below, and I will get with you, and I'll answer you back and say, hey, this is where you can go to look for these things. You can also go on your county or your city's website and see how these politicians voted, because there is a record. Every time they have a meeting to vote on something, an ordinance or whatever, or law in your city or county, there's a record of it. You can even go on your county's website, I know here where we live, and you can actually watch the Commissioner's Court live. You don't have to be there. You can actually go to their website and you can watch how they vote on things. Take notes. All it takes is a pen and a pad and go, oh, because you can pause it and go, oh, well, so-and-so voted on this and so-and-so didn't vote on that. Or whatever issue you think needs to be addressed. And you can actually watch these politicians go, oh, well, they voted yes on this, so why are we spending the money? And who's in the back door getting a deal to put that road in or to build that new complex or those new housing units in this subdivision? Start doing your homework.
On the national level, go to the Federal Elections Commission. They have a really good setup. You can look up any politician and see what they're spending money on, who's giving them money. You can even look it up by donor.
Yeah.
So if you think there's a particular donor out there that's buying politicians, you can look and see you can search by them and see who all they're paying for.
And it's fec.gov. If you look up your state ethics commission, you can do that. Like Texas, for example, is TEC.
Texas Ethics Commission.
TEC.org. There's other places that you can find where these donations are being funded. Again, Red Wind and Act Blue, you're not going to find anything. Because like he said, it's a firewall between the donors and the candidates. Because I was noticing on redwind.com how it said, well, you can split your donation to go to several candidates.
So
Act Blue is the same way.
We need more eyes out there. Tell your friends. Not everybody can, but if you would check one and somebody else is looking at somebody else and we're sharing that information, the corruption gets exposed. So on that note,
thank you for joining. Please like, share, and comment. Again, we will get back to you on your comments if you leave us one down below. If you need help, I can look it up for you and tell you what the website is and put it in the comments. And we greatly appreciate your support.
Thank you.